We grow up being told to be the hero, be brave, be kind, be good. But if that's true, why do the villains get all the love? We quote the Joker. We root for Walter White. We envy Hannibal's confidence. Deep down, we don't just fear evil, we're seduced by it. This video isn't about murderers or monsters, it's about us. Why is evil so damn attractive? And what does that say about the world we live in? Let's start with the villains we just can't stop watching. The Joker isn't just chaos, he's a mirror. A glitch in the Matrix, whether it's Heath Ledger's manic anarchist or Joaquin Phoenix's broken loner, the Joker exposes the sickness beneath our smiles. He doesn't want money, he wants honesty. He strips society down to its bones and asks, is any of this really sane? Walter White starts as a victim, a high school chemistry teacher with cancer, but something changes when he starts cooking meth. He stops apologizing. He takes control. And we love it because he says what most people won't. If the system's rigged, play a different game. And then there's Hannibal Lecter. The most terrifying thing about him, he's civilized, he's brilliant, he's charming, he murders, but with sophistication. He eats his victims with wine pairings and Bach playing in the background. He's more composed than the people hunting him. He's evil, but elegant. We don't just admire these villains, we identify with them, because each one of them is a response. A protest, a product of a broken world. They are what happens when the mask of order slips and something raw steps forward. They don't just break the rules, they expose the fact that the rules were already broken. Evil isn't a glitch, it's not a malfunction, it's a psychological reality, and maybe even a necessity. Carl Jung believed every human being carries a shadow, a part of ourselves we deny, repress, and fear. It's where all our unacceptable impulses live: anger, lust, cruelty, power. But the truth is, the more we repress the shadow, the more control it has over us. That's why villains fascinate us. They don't run from the shadow, they become it. The Joker doesn't hide his chaos, he uses it. He turns the mirror around and forces the world to look at its own reflection. Freud described our psyche as a war between the id, our raw desires, and the superego, our moral restraint. Heroes listen to the superego, villains tear it apart. They say what we can't, do what we won't, and in doing so, they offer a fantasy of liberation, freedom from shame, guilt, and hesitation. Psychologist Philip Zimbardo ran the Stanford prison experiment to answer one question: what makes good people do evil things? His answer: context, systems, power. Put anyone in the right or wrong situation, and the shadow comes out. Villains aren't born, they're revealed. They are what happens when circumstance meets suppressed desire. Evil is not a foreign country, it's the next street over in your own mind. Nietzsche argued that morality was invented by the weak to control the strong, that deep down we crave power, not goodness. Evil becomes attractive because it looks like evolution, it looks like strength. Refined, intelligent, dangerous, everything we've been told to fear, but secretly desire. Erich Fromm, in The Anatomy of Human Destructiveness, said people are drawn to evil not because they hate goodness, but because evil offers structure, power, and identity in a world that feels meaningless. We don't just want to be free, we want to matter. Heroes preserve the world, villains reshape it, they leave fingerprints on reality. We don't envy the evil, we envy the freedom that evil pretends to offer. To really understand why evil is so attractive, we have to stop thinking in terms of good versus bad. This isn't a comic book. It's a war between two worldviews. Friedrich Nietzsche didn't believe in conventional morality. He believed it was invented by the weak to protect themselves from the strong. The Übermensch, the overman, creates his own values. He doesn't follow the herd. He doesn't obey. He becomes. When the Joker says, "I'm not a monster, I'm just ahead of the curve," he's speaking Nietzsche. The villain isn't just breaking rules. He's writing new ones. That's terrifying and magnetic. Now meet Kant, total opposite energy. Kant believed that morality must be universal, that the right thing to do is the thing you'd want everyone to do, always. No exceptions. No ends justify the means. Batman is Kantian. He believes that to cross the line, even once, is to lose everything. But in a world as broken as ours, Kant's world feels fragile, unreal. And that's exactly why Nietzsche's villains seem more real. Dostoevsky saw it coming. In The Brothers Karamazov, he warned, "If God does not exist, everything is permitted." That's the void villains walk into, a world with no moral compass, and they make their own. It's not about cruelty, it's about clarity. Albert Camus saw life as absurd, no meaning, no reason, no cosmic justice. The villain embraces that truth, but instead of despair, he chooses rebellion. Like Meursault in The Stranger, he doesn't ask the universe for permission, he acts anyway. So here's the real battle, not good versus evil, but clarity versus compassion. Evil is clarity without compassion. Good is compassion without clarity. The villain sees the world clearly, but doesn't care who gets hurt. The hero cares, but often doesn't know what to do. Here's the paradox, the line that divides darkness and light. Evil is clarity without compassion. Good is compassion without clarity. Villains always know what they want. They have vision. They see the game, the lies, the politics, the power, and they say, "No, I make my own rules." But that vision comes at a cost. They don't care who gets crushed under their truth. Heroes, on the other hand, they care deeply, maybe too deeply. Batman sees the same chaos the Joker does, but he chooses not to cross that line. Not because it's smart, not because it's effective, but because it's right. Batman won't kill the Joker, even if it means more people die. We admire his restraint, but secretly, we feel the Joker's logic. The Joker ends problems, Batman just delays them. And that's the tragedy. Villains win the mind, heroes win the heart, but very few ever win both. That's why we remember villains, but we aspire to be heroes. But what if the world doesn't need a hero or a villain? We love evil not because it's evil, but because it's honest. Because in a world full of fake smiles and moral gray zones, villains don't pretend. The Joker doesn't lie to himself. Walter doesn't pretend to be weak. Hannibal doesn't apologize for what he is. They've made peace with the part of themselves that we spend our whole lives running from. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the dark half of our psyche. But here's the thing most people miss. Evil isn't out there, it's in here. And until you confront your shadow, you're not a saint. You're just a liar with good manners. We crave villains not because we want to destroy, but because we want to feel free. Free to be real, to be powerful, to stop apologizing. But here's the challenge. Can you hold both? Can you face your darkness without becoming it? If given the choice, would you rather be loved or feared? This wasn't just a video, it was a mirror. The question is, what did you see?